I loved the saying that they had on the board at the entrance to the community the other day where it said, if you can't see the sunshine, be the sunshine. So, on that note, that is what we will try and do. All right. So we are gonna launch right in today to some gentle movement, and we're gonna alternate a little bit between that gentle movement and our centering activity, okay? So what I want you to do is to bring your bottom all the way back to the back of the chair, sit up as tall as you can, feel that length in the spine, and again, take a moment to check in with your pelvis. It's always my favorite part of the body to check in with, and find that you're sitting on those sits bones. So again, if you imagine the shape of the pelvis as an upside down heart, we're sitting right at the top of that heart, okay? So I'm just gonna turn to the side to show you. We're resisting the urge to sort of round back onto the sacrum. So what that means is that we're actively bringing the body up, starting to use our torso muscles to keep us in that position, okay? And you can use the back of the chair, or you can sit forward from the back of the chair. That is fine too. Then we're gonna check in with our feet. Again, hopefully at home, you are all barefoot, letting those toes wiggle a little bit. Because again, a lot of our shoes, what they start to do is to squeeze those toes into a smaller toe box than what our feet would really prefer. So it's good to give them some time to loosen up. We're gonna press down through the inner toe mound and the outer toe mound, and press, both sides of the heel into the floor as well. And then begin to actively press a little bit here, feeling the lower body engage, feeling that pelvic floor start to lift, a little bit of engagement through the belly. Good. And gently releasing those arms to the sides. Let those shoulders be heavy. Feel those shoulder blades start to slide down the back. Good. And then again, nice and gentle. If this is the first time you've raised your arms overhead, just take your time. Big breath in. Big breath out. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. Again, big breath in. Big breath out. Good. Gently bringing those arms forward. We're going to keep that left arm forward. Big breath in, opening gently through the right arm. Exhale, close. Good. Same thing, opposite direction. Just doing what feels good for your body. Starting to get that little gentle twist. And coordinate the breath with the movement. Good. Big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Good. Again, as we move, noticing those legs, keeping that nice parallel position here. All right, one more movement. I'm gonna see if I can put that a little bit closer to my face. All right, arms out to the sides. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Good. Not actively reaching yet through those arms, just starting to wake up the body, beginning to turn that attention to the abdominal muscles. Big breath in, big breath out, big breath in, big breath out. Good. Shake it all out a little bit. Now we're going to take those hands and bring each finger to its partner. So I'm lining each finger up. Again, every part of the body needs to stretch, even those fingers. And as you can imagine, our resting position for our hands, what we're most frequently in, is a closed hand. So again, taking that time to stretch out those fingers. Now we're going to start to press every knuckle together. So even these middle knuckles here, we're pressing, 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 pressing. Good. Then bringing those elbows out to the side, we're going to start to actively press both hands together. Okay? Feeling those arms engage. Good. Good. We're going to stay here and breathe. Before we close, we're going to close our eyes too, but before we do that, think about those shoulders. Let them relax. Take a few little movements with the neck. Then begin to gently push those hands together and allow those eyes to close. Breathing here. Turning the attention inward, turning the attention to the breath, but at that same time, pressing those palms against each other, pressing the pads of each finger against its partner. Staying with that deep breath. Holding this shape, but beginning a slow movement of the head, turning one direction and then the other. And again, only as big as feels good for your body. And coming back to center, allowing the eyes to open, releasing those hands and dropping them to the thighs, turning the palms up. Good. And just sitting here for a moment, feeling the body, feeling that return of sensation to some parts, feeling that effort that was in those arms, beginning to relax. Breathing here. Wiggling those fingers a little bit. Good. Now we'll bring those hands toward each other and interlace those fingers. Give those hands a little bit of attention. Good. Now on the in-breath, pressing those palms out and up. Holding here, lifting the gaze toward those fingers. Breathing here. Really trying to press those hands up toward the ceiling. Staying with that long breath. Pulling those lower ribs in, pressing those feet into the floor, and then gently turning the palms down, rounding the shoulders and tucking the chin. Good. On the next in-breath, again, pressing those palms out and up. Holding here. Pressing through the feet, but also pressing through those hands. Staying with that long breath. And gently rounding the shoulders, tucking the chin. One more time, pressing out and up. Good, lots of length here, active arms. And turning the palms down, releasing those fingers, floating them down to the thighs. And again, letting everything rest for a moment. Feeling that drop in the shoulders. Taking some gentle circles with the neck. Starting nice and small. changing direction. And again, taking big no movements as far as is comfortable for your body. Good. Back to center. Turning that left hand down onto the thigh, releasing the right arm toward the side. And I'm actually going to start pressing a little bit into this leg. So again, using the pads of my fingers, my middle knuckles, just pressing into that leg. Big breath in, sweeping the arm up, and then starting to gently shift toward the opposite side. Good. As we hold here, breathing a little bit, find what feels good for your body. So maybe reaching a little more, turning the gaze down, maybe reaching up, lifting the gaze, maybe doing a little bit of both. Good, just moving a little here, staying with that breath. And gently floating that hand down to the same knee. Good. So now I have my right hand on my left knee. Good. And I'm going to release my left hand to the floor, holding here. Big breath in, sweeping that left arm up, and now stretching in the opposite direction. Good. So finding that balance of little bit of counter pressure here with the opposite hand and a side stretch here toward the right wall. Good. And letting that left hand float down to the opposite knee, we're going to gently tuck the chin and round the shoulders. Good, feeling that big spreading movement in the shoulder blades, big stretch through the mid-back, just sort of opposite where the heart is. Maybe allowing the eyes to close and just staying with the breath for a moment. On the next inhale, gently lifting the head and then taking a nice big movement. Our blooming flower here, all the way back down. Shake it out a little bit. Bring that right hand to the right thigh. And again, a little bit of pressure here through the pads of the fingers and the knuckles. Release the opposite arm to the side. Big breath in, stretching that arm up and over to the opposite wall. And playing a little bit here, staying with that long breath, but maybe opening up a little bit, maybe rotating to look down at the floor a little bit. Whatever feels good for your body. Good, one more nice big inhalation here. And exhale, letting that hand come down to the same knee. And releasing the right arm down to the floor. So now my left arm is actively pressing a little bit here into that right knee. Good. Reaching that right arm up. And coming into a side stretch here. Taking that thumb back toward the back of the room. Keeping my leg position active. Abdominal muscles engaged, lifting through the pelvic floor. Breathing here. And gently letting that right hand float down to the opposite knee. Tucking the chin and rounding the shoulders. Letting the head be heavy. Allowing the eyes to close. Coming back to that breath. Good. On the next inhale, lifting the head, allowing the eyes to open. And then we'll take our big movement, blooming our flower. And then we'll come to our standing position. Good. And again, sometimes we want to stand with those feet as close together as possible, but really, our anatomical position, what our body enjoys, is a hip width stance. Good. Relax those toes. Take a moment to feel all four corners of the feet. And then get light through the arches, nice and tall. And gently allow the eyes to close. Staying here for a few breaths, or beginning to gently shift the weight to the right pinky toe, over to the left pinky toe, back to the left heel, over to the right heel. Taking your time, connecting with the belly, changing direction. And coming back to center, allowing the eyes to open. Stay loose. Good. On the in-breath, reaching those arms up overhead, taking that left hand, clasping the right wrist. On the in-breath, reaching toward the ceiling, and then beginning to gently extend toward the left wall, a little bit of gentle pressure to that right wrist, and really starting to press down through that right foot, the outer edge of that right foot, feeling that side stretch. And inhaling back to center, take some big wrist circles all the way down. And once more, big breath in, sweeping those arms up. This time that right hand clasping that left wrist, reaching up toward the ceiling, and then gently toward that right wall. This time shifting the weight into the left foot, pressing through that outer edge of the foot. Breathe in here. Good. Inhaling back to center, taking some wrist circles in the opposite direction, all the way down. Good. Giving a little bit of attention to the points of the hips. Again, as if these are lights, we're going to shine them up a little bit, okay? So again, I'm going to turn to the side just to show we're resisting the urge to have that round, sort of that tucked sacrum here, and we're going to shine them up. Good. Big breath in, sweeping those arms up, and exhale, floating both hands down to the left hip, relaxing that back shoulder, keeping the points of the hips facing forward, breathing into this twist, maybe even allowing the gaze to look toward the back of the room. Just as much movement through the neck as is comfortable for your body. On the in-breath, slowly peeling the heels up, using that entire inhalation. Exhale, slowly lowering them back down. Good, using all 10 toes. Don't forget that pinky toe. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more time, inhaling up. Exhaling down. Good. On the next in-breath, sweeping those arms up. And exhale, dropping them to the right hip. Relaxing that back shoulder. Again, points of the hips forward. All that twist from the belly button up. On the next inhale, peeling those heels up. Exhaling back down. Good. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Good, big breath in, sweeping those arms up, wiggling those fingers, and then gently bringing the hands behind the back. I'm going to turn around to show you. We're going to interlace our fingers here. Good. Keeping that bend in the elbows, starting to squeeze those hands together and relax those shoulders back. Good. So as if you have a pencil between your shoulder blades, squeezing those shoulder blades together, letting those hands be heavy. Good. Shifting the weight to that left foot, all right? When you're ready, relax the face and take a moment to slowly peel that right heel from the floor, coming to the tip of the toe. Actively engaging through the belly and pressing through that left foot, so we're rooting into the ground. Good. On the in-breath, lifting that knee high. Out-breath, slowly tapping it back down. Good. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Big breath in. Big breath out. And we're going to hold. Lifting up. Good. Relaxing the face. Noticing where your mind goes. We often get very critical of ourselves in balance pose. Just have fun. Come into that Mona Lisa smile. Good. And releasing it back down. Release those arms, reaching them up, wiggling those fingers once more, and floating them back. This time interlacing the fingers with the opposite hand on top. So it's usually the one that feels a little bit strange. Good. Keep a bend in that elbows and begin to gently roll those shoulders back, squeezing that pencil between the shoulder blades. Start to shift the weight to the right foot, strong through the belly, and gently peeling that left heel from the floor. Good. Just holding here for a moment as we check in with the body, rooting through that standing leg. So notice if that hip starts to pop out, and really try and activate it in, pressing through the outer edge of that foot, keeping the belly muscles working. Good. On the in-breath, lifting the knee up. Exhale, gently lowering it down. Good. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Big breath in. Big breath out. Good. This time lifting and holding. Again, staying with it. And gently lowering it back down. Good. Releasing those arms, stretching up, wiggling those fingers as we lift the gaze, and gently floating them back down. Good. All right, we're coming back to our chair, back to our Utkatasana shape, also sometimes translated as chair. Whoops. We're going to keep that hip width stance. As we move, noticing as the weight shifts back to the heels, keeping the toes light, and as the weight shifts forward as we rise back to our standing position. Good. All right, big breath in, sweeping those arms up, light through the heels. Exhale, lowering the bottom to hover above the chair, light through the toes. Inhale, squeezing the belly and buttocks. Exhale, shifting back. Inhale up. Exhale back. And one last time, strong movements. Big reach. Exhale, this time hovering here above the chair, relaxing through the face, breathing here. See if you can wiggle those toes just a little bit. And gently coming back to the chair. Good, very nice. Staying forward this time, keeping that body nice and tall, rooting through the feet, length through the spine. Good. Nice big breath here. As we exhale, slowly folding forward, lowering those hands all the way to the floor. Good, releasing those hands, pressing through the feet all the way up. Exhale, floating them back down to the thighs. Good, we'll do that 2 more times. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale up. Exhale. 1 more time. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Shake it all out a little bit. Give those feet some attention. Good. We're going to take our right ankle, place it on top of the left knee. And again, noticing here, if you start to lift off the chair and try and be nice and heavy through that side of the pelvis. Good. Pressing through that foot on the floor, keeping this foot nice and active, nice and tall. Maybe hinging forward here, tucking the chin in just a little bit. Good. Releasing that right arm to the floor. We're going to take our left hand to the opposite knee. And then taking that right arm out to the side and maybe back toward the back of the room. Seated twist here. Breathing, feeling that length. And again, staying on the base of the pelvis, nice and heavy through the buttocks. And releasing back to center. Taking that foot in some big circles here. Changing direction. Pointing and flexing that foot. And changing sides. Left ankle to the top of the right foot, right knee, active feet, nice and tall. We're beginning to hinge forward, tucking the chin just a little bit. And sitting back up tall, dropping the left hand to the floor, taking the right hand to the opposite knee, beginning to come into a twist, reaching that left arm out to the side, and then opening it up toward the back of the room. And gently coming back, taking that foot in some big circles. Changing direction. Pointing and flexing that foot. Good. Bringing that foot back to the floor, and this time bringing those knees close together. And we're going to begin to engage through the inner thighs, squeezing those legs together. Good. Taking those hands, interlacing the fingers, bringing them to the left hip. Good. Continuing to squeeze through those knees. Big breath in, sweeping those arms up. Exhale back down. Good. Using the entire inhalation with the movement. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. wiggling those fingers. And then again, we'll place the opposite hand on top. That one, there. And bring both those hands to the opposite hip. Squeezing the inner thighs, big rotation up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Bringing those hands back to center. Wiggling those fingers. Big open stretch here. For some of us, we may be a little bit lower, but try and take those hands back beyond the peripheral vision. Big open through the chest. And sweeping those hands back to center, floating them down. Good. All right, we're going to come up again. Standing in front of that chair, hands on the hips to begin. We're going to take a nice slow movement, heel toeing the feet out. So again, big movements. Good. Good. Coming into a nice wide stance. Good. This itself can be very challenging. Pressing through the outer edges of the feet. And again, shining those points of the hips up toward the ceiling. Breathing here and then taking those arms straight out. Good. Really pressing through those feet and reaching through those arms. Good. Pressing that left hip back just a little bit. We're going to reach a little more through that right arm and then gently float that hand down as we lift that top arm up. Coming into our triangle pose, continuing to shine the points of the hips up toward the ceiling. Keeping this bottom hand nice and light. Inhale, bringing those arms back up. Once more, reaching in opposite directions and pressing through those feet. Good. Starting to shift the weight to that right foot a little bit, taking that hip back and reaching through the left arm. Dropping that hand down as we reach the right arm up. Good. Tucking the pelvis. And gently floating back up. Turning the right toes toward the right wall. And begin to sink into our warrior two shape. When you're ready, turning the gaze over the middle finger. On the in-breath, turning that palm up, straightening the leg as we lift the arms. Exhale, returning to our warrior two. Inhale, reversing our warrior, straightening that right leg. Exhale. One more time, big breath in. Exhale. Dropping that right forearm to the thigh, sweeping that left arm up toward the ceiling, and maybe lifting that gaze. Strong belly, really using that back foot. And gently returning to our warrior two, straightening that right leg. Taking the hands to the hips, and we'll change sides, rotating the right toes in, pointing the left toes out. And again, here, noticing that pelvis, we want to try and engage those rotators to keep the points of the hips facing forward. Open through the chest, and then sinking into that left knee. On the in-breath, turning the front palm up, straightening that left leg as we reverse our warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straightening that leg, big movement. Exhale, warrior two. One more time, big breath in. Big breath out. Dropping that left forearm to the thigh, sweeping the right arm up toward the ceiling, using those feet, really rooting through those strong legs. And gently returning to our warrior two. And then dropping those hands as we rotate the toes toward the front of the room. Good, taking your time, heel toeing those feet in. And we're gonna start to make our way down to our mat. So bringing those legs into a long stance, one hand to the chair. We'll slowly come down to all fours. Good. And again, this table shape has a lot of intention to it. So again, even here, pressing through the pads of the fingers and the middle knuckles, and we're trying not to collapse into it. We're really actively engaging the belly and lifting our mid-back. Good. Even taking some weight back to the knees if that decreases the weight through the arms. On your next inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze. Exhale, tucking the chin and rounding the back. Inhale, opening through the heart, pulling that mat towards you. Exhale, pushing that mat away from you as you spread the shoulder blades. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good, returning to a neutral position, and we're just going to do a little tail wagging. So see if you can just isolate that pelvic movement, keeping the hands pressing evenly into the floor. So again, instead of trying to move the whole body, we're just gonna wag that tail a little bit. Again, you're home alone, so get as crazy as you like. All right, now we're gonna start to get down onto our backs. Taking your time, coming all the way down to the floor. Keeping those knees bent, pressing the feet into the floor and turning the palms down toward the floor. We're pressing just a little bit through those arms. So the entire length of the arm, shoulder blades, all pressing down. Tucking the chin in just a little bit. On the in-breath, begin to gently press the waistband of the pants into the floor and slowly peel those hips up to the ceiling. And then our reverse shape, lowering that waistband of the pants and slowly lowering the bottom. Good. Big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more time, pressing through those arms. Exhale. Good. Bringing those legs up, squeezing the knees together, keeping those hands pressing into the floor, and coming into just a little bit of controlled rocking. So you want to manage that speed, control those hips, keep those shoulder blades connected to the ground. And back to center. Once more connecting with that waistband of the pants, keeping those abdominal muscles engaged. On the in-breath, straightening one leg to hover above the floor. Exhale back in. Inhale, changing legs. Exhale back in. Good. Maybe going a little bit faster posture. In breath for one leg, out breath for the other. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Continuing to scoop the abdominal muscles, pressing into the floor. Staying with your breath. Good. Bringing those knees back together, floating the feet down to the floor. Good. Opening those arms nice and wide, shoulders pressing into the floor. Slowly lower the knees to one side, all the way to the mat, working to keep that left shoulder blade connected to the floor, and then turning your gaze away from the knees. Breathing here. Gentle squeeze to the belly, bring those knees back to center. Slowly lower to the opposite side. And again, turning that gaze away from the knees. And back to center. Hugging the knees into the chest, giving those legs a big squeeze. Maybe a little bit of movement here. And then we'll start to make our way into our final Shavasana, our relaxation pose. And again, I encourage you to stay here after class is over. Good. Take those legs a little bit wider than the mat. Arms a little bit wider. Good. Tucking the chin in. Taking one nice big breath in, and then letting everything relax. Letting the belly go soft, right into the floor. Allowing the eyes to close. And continuing to stay here on the floor, or if you're back in your chair or want to get back to your chair, bending the knees, rolling toward that chair. And coming back up, half kneeling position, sliding the bottom to the chair. Good. Sitting up nice and tall, allowing the eyes to close. Returning to the breath. Placing one hand over the heart and the other hand on top of that. Breathing in gratitude. Gratitude for everything that got you to your mat. Taking time to take care of ourselves. Only when we nourish and we replenish ourselves do we have what it takes to be there for others. And again, taking a moment to reflect on, if you can't see the sunshine, be the sunshine. May all beings be happy, weak or strong, small or great, seen or unseen, nearby or far away. May all beings be entirely happy. Bringing the palms of the hands to Anjali Mudra and bowing to the sacred in each other. Namaste.